Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. Today's video is all about growing cucumbers. This is early growth, some early care tips. Number one, cucumber plants enjoy water. Most of our garden plants like water. Now, why do I say that? We tend to underwater the plants in our garden. Yes, they get by and they do okay. But if you increase the watering a little bit with your cucumbers, a little more often than you think, they're going to thrive and they're going to do better. So experiment, maybe increase the watering a little bit. But today I want to talk about cucumber beetles, using dust to take care of them, using peppermint oil spray to manage spider mites, and just some things you can do in the beginning to take care of the plants. These plants are bush variety cucumber plants. You can see some spots on the leaves. Some of the edges are kind of getting yellow and brown. That's not something to over worry about. You don't need to remove those leaves. They'll naturally die off. And sometimes I like doing that better because when you break the leaf, it puts out a scent of the cucumber plant, and some insects use that to find plants. So I just kind of let the leaves die on there. But I do know that the cucumber beetle is going to start showing up, and instead of dusting the whole plant, you can just dust like the leaf right here, maybe some over there, keep it away from the flowers, and the cucumber beetles will run through that and they're going to die quickly. You can use 7, which is not organic, or you can use like something like Captain Jack's dead bug dust, which is organic, and it's spinosad basically, and they both work very well. But you want to just start doing this regularly and you'll keep a cucumber beetle infestation from taking over your plants. I will show you how to use the dust. And remember, dust kills good insects and bad insects. Just because it's organic doesn't mean it won't kill bees and pollinators, so you have to use it wisely. We're also going to start using a peppermint oil spray. Every year I get spider mites. They start on the bottom of the plant, they work their way up, and peppermint oil is a great repellent, and it does kill smaller insects, and it just has been managing my cucumber plants really well. So I have to take care of the plants for spider mites, cucumber beetles. And at this point, this much growth, and sometimes you see a little bit of yellow, a light drink of a water-soluble fertilizer, any kind you want to use, is perfectly fine. But really now, you want to get into a routine to prevent pests from damaging your plants. So let's get to putting down, actually we'll do the peppermint oil first because that's a spray, and that's not going to harm bees or anything like that. So we'll do the peppermint oil and then we'll put down the dust. I sell rosemary oil and peppermint oil at my seed shop. They're really effective at masking scents, so sometimes it confuses the bad insects. They're also really good at repelling spider mites. I've even had success repelling the Mexican bean beetle on my bean plants. The bean plants also get spider mites. I primarily use it for spider mites. I like to get a 1-gallon sprayer. I put the recipes on here. I don't like mixing different things. So this would be for peppermint oil, rosemary oil, 1 to 2 teaspoons, a teaspoon size of the oils. These are essential oils, 100% oil. You don't want to use extracts, you want to use the oil. Nowadays I use 2 teaspoons, so I made this up with 2 teaspoons of peppermint into 1 gallon of water, and then I put in 1 tablespoon of the Castile type soaps, which are the purest, simplest type soaps, 1 tablespoon into the gallon. If you're going to use dish soap or concentrated soaps or detergents, you want to go with a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons, but don't put in a tablespoon, it's too strong. Too much soap can damage the leaves of your plants. You also want to test spray. Whatever you make up, spray a couple of leaves, wait 48 hours, and look for damage. If the leaves look good, then continue with your spraying. So I just again want to stress 1 gallon of water, 2 teaspoons of peppermint oil, 1 tablespoon of the Castile type simple, pure, clean soaps. Makes a perfect mix. This will store, meaning you can leave it in a container for a couple of weeks. The peppermint oil, the rosemary oil are one mix that you can kind of just let sit in the container. So let me finish this up. We'll get to spraying. The other thing is that the oils float. I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's floating in there. So you want enough soap in there so when you shake the container, the oil disperses through the water, and then when you spray, you're getting droplets of peppermint oil across your plant. And you want it to stay mixed, for a good, 2 minutes or something like that. So it has to be enough soap so that oil mixes through. And then every time you go to a new plant, just give the container a shake, and that ensures that you're getting the peppermint oil across your plants. Perfect for spider mites. It's really changed the way that I can grow cucumber plants. Spraying cucumber plants is pretty straightforward. Nice fine mist, and you're soaking the tops of the leaves. There is some chance that because this is an oil spray, it helps with some fungal issues. But again, the peppermint oil is really for spider mites, masking scents, and treating smaller insects on your plants. You can use like neem oil and other oils to help kind of manage fungi and funguses on your plants. You got the top sprayed, you really want to get underneath, and that's where the spider mites hang out. And you just want to soak the plant well. You can do this every week. If you had an outbreak or something like that, you could do it more often. This is a really mild spray, but you do want to test spray. Like after I made this up, I had 1 tablespoon of the soap in there. It really wasn't mixing the oil through enough, so I added in another half a tablespoon of the Castile type soaps. You want to get the recipe perfected. Once you know that it doesn't do any damage, write it down, and that's what you want to follow for your garden, you know, week after week, month after month. Just soak it down. That peppermint oil will do wonders in preventing the spider mites or getting rid of spider mites. And I will go through and do that with all the cucumber plants. This will dry very quickly, and then I will go ahead and we'll get to putting down the dust for the cucumber beetles. Those are 2 pests that I know come to my plants, so I am spraying, you know, ahead of time by a couple of weeks just to prevent an infestation from taking hold. And that's the best way to take care of plants. Spray preventatively and then keep it going, you know, for the season to keep them off your plants. Now that I'm moving to the second plant, remember, shake up the mix well. You want that oil to be dispersed through the water. Here are my other cucumber plants. They were direct sown seeds. They're not even 3 weeks old, and look how big they are. So direct sowing cucumber seeds can save you a lot of money. The seeds germinate quickly and the plants really take off. Again, the spray is going to go on the top leaves, on the undersides. Another strategy is after these are growing for about 40 days, they're going to get beat up, even with the spraying, even with the care. I'll get a great harvest out of them. But when you get past their prime, beat up by pest, disease, maybe the sun, the hot summer sun, instead of trying to take care of sick plants, pull them out and then put in transplants. So maybe start transplants a couple weeks early before you know that your plants typically die out. You can keep planting cucumber plants in May, in June, in July, and even August in some areas, and you will get a harvest. They only take about 35 to 45 days to start really producing well. So don't forget, you don't need to keep taking care of sick cucumber plants. Pull them out, drop new seed, put in transplants, and what happens is you end up planting sometimes through the life cycle of the pests and disease. So the later planted cucumbers sometimes do better because they don't have the pressure of the pests or the diseases coming to your garden because their life cycle is pretty much over. Peppermint oil, one of my favorite sprays to use in a garden. I use it on all different plants. Please subscribe and follow me. I'll show you how I use it on bean plants and other ways in the garden. All right, let's get to the dust. The peppermint oil spray is down, and remember, it's really an irritant to the spider mites, and it really stops them from progressing on your plant. So now we're going to put down insect dust. Any kind of insect dust will kill good and bad insects, so you have to really use it with a plan. If you're worried about bees and pollinators and beneficial insects, I recommend putting the dust down late in the evening when the pollinators tend to go away, and then washing it off really in the morning. Overnight is enough time for the dust to be on the leaves. The cucumber beetles are really active. They crawl through it and they die. Now, the other key is I don't have to throw dust crazily everywhere. You can just take it, let's see if I can do this without putting too much on, and just leave it like that. Now, noticing that I did get some on a flower down there, so I'm going to remove that flower. This way there's no chance of a pollinator going to it. That is really enough dust for a plant this size to really help it take care of the cucumber beetle. It is growing a little bit taller up there, so maybe I'm like, well, I feel like maybe the cucumber beetle will come over there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the dust on that leaf. Plenty. You don't have to cover the whole plant. You can leave it on. You can rinse it off. When it gets windy, it can blow the dust onto the flowers. Sometimes I will remove the flowers if needed be. When I'm kind of taking care of the zucchini plants and squash plants and I'm putting the dust down at the stem, I remove the flowers around where I put the dust. I like to do this in the evening, rinse it off in the morning. It's really effective against the cucumber beetles. And you probably want to do this probably every 7 to 10 days. As the plants get bigger and taller, you would just put like dust a little bit on the leaves there, a little bit over there, a little bit down at the bottom, and they're really active. Trust me, they're going to crawl all over the place. That will keep the cucumber beetle under control, and that will allow your plants to thrive, produce, and then again, like I was saying, maybe midsummer, they're beat up, just replace them with new seeds or new transplants. This is 2 things that I do for my cucumber plants now every year. It's really increased the harvest and production of my plants, and you know, use the dust just like this. And just respect that if you cover the entire plant, you are going to kill off more pollinators. When you're using the dust on fewer leaves, you reduce the risk to the good insects. And when you're doing the dusting in the evening, you reduce that risk even greater. It's all about risk reduction. Please subscribe. I will teach you how to take care of an entire garden. And please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. I sell peppermint oil, rosemary oil there. You can find that in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, prevention goes a long way in keeping the problems from showing up on your cucumber plants. I like the peppermint oil and the insect dust. Thanks for watching.